So there I was. It was Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. You know that feeling you get before a blind date? It's a mix of excitement and pure, unadulterated panic. My friend Sarah had set me up. She said this guy, Mark, was perfect. He was funny, he was kind, he had a great job, and he didn't live with his parents. That last one is a big deal, you know? I spent an hour trying on outfits. The blue one, too formal. The black one, too sad. I finally settled on a nice pair of jeans and a top that said, "I'm casual," but I still tried. I was a bundle of nerves. My palms were sweaty. I probably checked my teeth for lipstick about 100 times. Now here's the thing. I'm a mom. I have a wonderful, amazing 6-year-old son named Leo. And on this particular Tuesday, my babysitter cancelled at the last minute. Something about her pet hamster having an existential crisis. I'm not even kidding. So I had a choice to make: cancel the date and spend the night watching cartoons, or bring Leo with me. I know what you're thinking. Bringing your kid on a blind date is a bold move. It's like bringing your own snacks to a movie theater. It's generally frowned upon, but sometimes you just have to do it. So I called Mark. I explained the situation, fully expecting him to run for the hills, but he just laughed and said, "The more the merrier." Walking into that restaurant was something else. I was holding Leo's little hand and my heart was beating like a drum solo. I felt like I should have a sign that said, "Hi, I'm your date and this is my tiny co-pilot." Leo, on the other hand, was as cool as a cucumber. He was just excited about the promise of French fries. I was so worried about what Mark would think. Would he see me as a mess? Would he think I was unprofessional? All these thoughts were swirling in my head. I was trying to be calm, but inside I was a whirlwind of anxiety. I just wanted the night to go well, for both my sake and for Leo's. I spotted Mark sitting at a booth near the window. He looked just like his picture, which is always a relief. You never know these days. The picture could be from 10 years ago. He could be a cat. You just don't know. He stood up when we approached, and a huge smile spread across his face. He didn't look scared or annoyed. He looked genuinely happy to see us. He shook my hand and then knelt to say hello to Leo. He asked him about his favorite superhero. Right away, my nerves started to calm down just a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, this wouldn't be a total disaster after all. Maybe bringing my son wasn't the worst idea I've ever had. The first hour of the date was incredible. It was better than I could have imagined. Mark was so easy to talk to. We talked about everything. We talked about our jobs, our favorite movies, our most embarrassing moments. He told me a story about accidentally wearing 2 different shoes to a meeting. I told him about the time I tried to bake a cake and use salt instead of sugar. We were laughing so hard that people at other tables started looking at us. It felt so natural, so comfortable. It didn't feel like a first date. It felt like I had known him for years. It was just easy. And he was amazing with Leo. He didn't just tolerate him being there, he included him. He made sure Leo had crayons and a coloring sheet. He asked him about school and his friends. They bonded over their shared love for dinosaurs. At one point, Mark was making a T-Rex noise and Leo was giggling uncontrollably. I sat there watching them and my heart just melted. It was the sweetest thing. I thought, wow, this guy is the real deal. He wasn't just putting on a show. You could tell he was a genuinely good person. He had a warmth about him that was just so welcoming and kind. The food came and the conversation kept flowing. We discovered we both loved hiking and hated reality TV. We both thought pineapple on pizza was a crime against humanity. The connection was real. I started to forget that this was a blind date I was so nervous about. I started to forget that my son was there as an unexpected third wheel. It just felt like 3 people enjoying a really nice dinner together. The atmosphere was light and happy. I was actually starting to picture a second date, maybe a third. I was letting myself get a little bit hopeful, which is a scary thing to do. I remember thinking to myself, this is it. This is how it's supposed to feel. There were no awkward silences. There was no forced conversation. It was just perfect. Mark looked at me and said, "I'm really glad you didn't cancel." And I was glad too. I was so incredibly glad. I felt a sense of peace wash over me. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could really be myself with someone, mum part and all. The evening was shaping up to be one of the best first dates of my life. Everything was going so well. And then Leo decided it was time for his big moment. We were waiting for the check. The conversation had lulled into a comfortable silence. Mark was smiling at me and I was smiling back. It was one of those movie moments. And then, out of nowhere, Leo looked right at Mark. He had a very serious expression on his face. He put down his French fry, which is how you know it's important. He pointed a little ketchup-stained finger at me and said in a very loud voice, "My mommy says you're her last chance at love before she gets another cat." The entire restaurant went silent. You could have heard a pin drop or a hamster having a crisis. My face turned a shade of red I didn't know was possible. I think it was a mix of crimson and pure horror. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me whole. I looked at Mark, and his smile had vanished. He just stared at Leo and then at me with this wide-eyed, shocked expression. He didn't say anything, he just blinked. A couple at the next table started to snicker. Leo, completely unaware of the emotional bomb he had just detonated, went back to his fries. He thought he had done a good thing. He thought he was helping his mummy out. Oh, Leo. The silence was deafening. It stretched on for what felt like an eternity. I tried to speak, but no words came out. I just made a sort of squeaking sound, like a mouse being surprised. Well, you see, I stammered. I was trying to backtrack, to explain. I wanted to tell him it was a joke I made to my friend Sarah on the phone. I wanted to tell him that kids say the darndest things, but the damage was done. The perfect, magical bubble we were in had been popped by a 6-year-old with a French fry. The mood shifted so fast it gave me whiplash. Mark finally cleared his throat. He looked down at his plate, then back at me. The warmth was gone from his eyes. Now, there was just awkwardness. A giant wall of it had just been built right between us. Oh, he said, that was it. Just, oh. It was the saddest oh I had ever heard. The easy, fun, flirty vibe was gone. Poof, vanished. It was replaced by this heavy, uncomfortable tension. The rest of the date, which was about 5 minutes long, was excruciating. We paid the bill in silence. The walk to the car was the longest walk of my life. The perfect date was officially over. The drive home was quiet. Leo fell asleep in the back seat, dreaming of dinosaurs and truth bombs, I'm sure. I just replayed that moment over and over in my head. The silence, Mark's face, the snickering. I was so embarrassed. I was also a little angry. Not at Leo, of course. He's a kid. I was angry at the situation. I was angry that one silly, out-of-context sentence could derail everything so completely. I got home and put Leo to bed. I sat on my couch in the dark, feeling pretty sorry for myself. I figured I would never hear from Mark again, and honestly, I wasn't even sure I wanted to. But then something shifted. As I sat there, the embarrassment started to fade, and something else took its place, a little bit of clarity. Leo's statement, as mortifying as it was honest. It was a kid's unfiltered version of a conversation he overheard. And it made me think, why was I so worried about saying the wrong thing or making the wrong impression? I was trying so hard to present this perfect version of myself, the fun, easygoing, not at all desperate version. But that's not all of who I am. I am a mum who worries. I am a woman who hopes for love and gets tired of being alone sometimes. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that Leo hadn't ruined the date. He had just fast-forwarded it. He had skipped past all the small talk and gotten right to the heart of things. He put all my vulnerability right out there on the table next to the ketchup. And Mark's reaction, or lack thereof, told me everything I needed to know. If someone is right for you, they won't run away when things get real. They won't be scared off by a little messy, complicated, embarrassing honesty. They'll lean in. They'll laugh with you. They won't just say, oh. In the end, Leo's shocking statement was a gift. It was a hilarious, cringe-worthy, absolutely mortifying gift. It taught me that the right person for me won't just love the perfect, curated version of me I present on a first date. They'll love the real me, the me who makes silly jokes on the phone, the me who has a son who repeats those jokes in public. It taught me that true love isn't about perfection. It's about finding someone who sees your messy, beautiful, complicated life and says, I want in. And no, I never got another cat. I didn't need one.